There we go. All right. So, hi, my name is Jackie Werner, and I am the Scholarly Communications and Research Librarian up here in Philadelphia. And today we're going over literature review. And there are many different types of literature. Now I'm going to be focused on basically how to select what database you're searching in, and how to do kind of a general literature review, get an idea of what's out there in literature, get ideas for writing papers or doing research. And if you're interested in doing systematic reviews where you try to get absolutely everything that's published on a topic, that's going to be a more complicated process. So if you're interested in that, then please contact me or someone else at the library. Up here in About, there's a staff directory where you can contact either me or somebody at down in Georgia or South Georgia. All right, so I'm going to be talking about 4 main databases today. I'm going to start with PubMed, that many of you are probably familiar with. Then I'm going to be looking at Scopus, Embase, and also PsycInfo, which also covers EBSCO databases as a whole. And if we have time at the end, y'all could ask about any other databases or topics that you're interested in. All right, so first thing you want to remember, whenever you're going to a library database, always go through the library home. So go to library.pcom.edu and go to our database list, either down here in Quick Links or up here under Collection Databases. The reason you have to do that, even if you're on campus, is that these databases won't always recognize that you're connected to PCOM. So even if you're on campus and the library owns something, it might try to send you to a page that says pay $35 for this article. Never pay money for an article. Either the library owns it, or we can get it for you through Interlibrary Loan. So, and when you're off campus, then you can just sign in through the database, through the library homepage links here, and it'll act exactly as if you're on campus. All right, so first one is PubMed. This one is pretty important as it has a tab right here on the page, and you can just click PubMed up here to get there. If you're off campus, it will ask you to log in, and that's just same name and username and password as your email. And then you will end up here at PubMed. So you'll notice this big banner, click here to try the new PubMed. That is a new interface, but does the same things. And I will be holding a session whenever the new PubMed is pushed out. We don't know when it's going to replace the old PubMed, but if you learn to use the old PubMed, then you'll definitely have the idea. Just the buttons might be different. All right, so you want to search PubMed basically when you're doing any sort of medical search. This also includes psychiatry, pharmacy, anything related to medicine. So PubMed has probably a smaller database compared to the other options that we'll be looking at. So this means that Scopus is going to catch some things that aren't indexed in PubMed, NBase is going to catch more, and EBSCO is going to catch mostly things on different topics, including non-medical journals. But if you want to know where to start and you're doing a medical topic, definitely PubMed. All right, and the interesting thing about PubMed is called mesh term. So I'm going to start by doing a normal search without mesh terms, and then I'll show you why we want to use them. All right, So a topic I'm looking for is physical therapy effective for treating asthma? So I'm just going to search. You always want to use just the just keywords instead of the full sentence. So here I'm typing physical therapy, asthma. In most of the databases, you're also going to want to type "and" in all caps between them. You don't have to do it in PubMed, but good idea. Good to get into it. All right, so I'm going to search, and if you look at some of these topics here, you'll notice that some of them have absolutely nothing to do with physical therapy and asthma. This one, for instance. So this one just mentions the terms physical and therapy and somebody who happened to have asthma. Now let's not do that. I really hate this touchscreen. Back to normal, please. There we go. All right. I'm sorry, I really hate this touchscreen. Okay. Try to one more time to reset that. Okay. All right, I think we're okay. All right, going back here, we have 3,000 results. A lot of them are not actually relevant to what we're looking at. In this case, we're going to try MESH. So MESH stands for Medical Subject Headings, and it's a controlled vocabulary for PubMed. What that means is every single article, book chapter, whatever that goes through PubMed will be looked at and have a term and have certain terms assigned to it. That means that you don't have to search for all sorts of different synonyms for these words. You'll know that everything in PubMed will be in. Now, this does not cover the most recent things in PubMed. Like, for example, this one that was published in December 2019. This probably is not going to have any MESH terms. Yeah, usually if you click link out more resources, it'll show you what the MESH terms are. So just keep that in mind. If you're searching for the newest things in a topic, you might want to do MESH terms and just a regular search. So let's actually search a MESH term. I'm going to start with one of these terms, asthma. When you're searching MESH, you always want to search for one concept at a time because you're basically looking at a dictionary. So let me search for asthma. Here we have 11 search results, and they're all different topics. So it gives you a definition of what this term means. You can confirm that's what you want. There's a bunch of subheadings, and those can help narrow down your search. For example, if you want to look at specifically veterinary asthma, you could click on that. Right now, we're not going to use any subterm. And this very important checkbox here is restrict to MESH major topic. When things are indexed in with MESH terms, also the actual topics, what is the paper about, are marked as major topics. So using MESH terms, you can limit down those 3,000 results to, I want papers that are about asthma and about physical therapy. It's not going to be somebody who happens to have a history of asthma. All right, so let's click restrict to MESH major topic, and let's add to search builder. All right, now I'm going to search for physical therapy. Click enter here. All right, so we get 4 results. Looks like this is called physical therapy modalities. All right, and I want to narrow down physical therapy a bit. So first of all, if you look at the entry terms, you could see all of the search terms that are also included under physical therapy. So you might want to search for neurophysiotherapy, group physiotherapy. In any other case, if you were trying to get everything on physical therapy, but here you just have to search for this. But If you scroll down here, you'll see what's called a tree. And everything above your topic on the tree, that's going to be less specific. Anything below it is going to be more specific. In this case, I think we're actually interested in only exercise therapy. You could see here that includes endurance training, resistance training, etc. But let's click exercise therapy. And that gives the definition. Yes, I think that's what we're interested in. So we'll restrict that to a mesh major topic. You can also choose not to include the mesh terms found below this in the hierarchy. That means you wouldn't get endurance training, resistance training, etc. Usually you don't want to click that, but just know that it's there. All right, I'm going to add this to Search Builder. And it's automatically an AND search, which means that you want papers that have both asthma and exercise therapy as a major topic. All right, search is complete. Let us search PubMed. And now we're down to 176 results, which is going to be a lot easier. So you could also use the options over here on the left-hand side to narrow things down even. So right now, it automatically sorts by most reads. So that's just obviously newest stuff's going to be at the top. But let's see, you only want to look at papers in the last 10 years. So just click 10 years over here. We're down to 53. If you show additional filters, you could get even more ways to narrow it down. Let's do ages, sex, and languages. So sex, if you want to limit it to female or male. Ages, you want to limit to a specific age. Languages, English, usually going to be a good idea to click because sometimes you'll get a lot in a language that you don't actually speak. But you could customize that, and you could add a whole lot of languages that you may speak. And you could select multiple at a time. All right, text availability. You never want to actually click this because when it says free full text or full text, that does not necessarily mean that's the only things that we have access to. All right, then you have article types. Article types is very useful. You could find it in almost all the databases we're looking at. And one of the most useful things to look for when you're just starting out is a review. So you could also limit it to, you're probably going to want to glance through everything just to see what's being put out there. But review articles are really great if you want to get an idea of what is the state of the. So here, limited to review, English, 10 years, show here, and we're down to 10 different results. So that's a lot easier to look through. And if you click one of these results, then you can see more information about it. So here's the abstract, always a good thing to glance over. And here we have publication types, mesh terms, and substances. See, this is a systematic review, and all the mesh terms that are in here. And there you could see some of the what the non-major terms like, for instance, female and male, randomized controlled trials as a topic, and also includes links to the substances in there, which is probably going to be more interesting if you're looking for a specific substance and not, for instance, water. All right, so once you have an article, you always want to click the PCOM full text link. That's going to be a big button in all the databases. And if you don't see it, that's a good sign that you're not actually signed in through the library homepage. So click that. And this particular one we don't have. But that teaches us about Interlibrary Loan. If we don't have an article, it'll give you a link to request it through Interlibrary Loan. And let's, if you haven't done this before, just click First Time Users to set up an account. Hopefully I remember my password. Let's try this one more time. Okay, so the one password I didn't write down, of course. But if you are actually able to log in, then it will fill in all the blanks for you with that specific article. So they'll fill in all the information. All you have to do is change the date you want it by, and then click Submit. Then it will be sent to you, usually within a few days. You'll get a PDF copy of it, and you'll be able to download it and keep it however long you want. This is a really great resource because there is almost everything we can get for you, no cost to you, delivered to you electronically. The only issue is when you're getting anything foreign language. So besides that, or really obscure older works, we'll probably be able to get that paper for you. All right, let's go back to PubMed. Last thing I want to show you here is that you can save your searches and create an alert. So, all right, I could actually see the chat messages. I will be with you in one moment. All right, so when you sign up for PubMed, you're going to get a My NCBI account. And I think the best thing about it is the save searches and search alerts. So I did the search. I'm going to click Create Alert. Now you could name the search. It tells you the terms, and you could choose whether or not to keep the filters. Then it asks you, would you like email updates of new search results? If no, it'll just be saved in your account, and you can go whenever you want to take a look at and see if anything's new. If you say yes, whenever anything new is added that fits these parameters, then you could get an email directly to you. You could have it daily, so basically whenever it comes out, or weekly or monthly. For instance, I get monthly, I have a monthly search for anything published by PCOM authors, and that just comes, I get about 20-something a month, and just sent right to your email. All right, let's go to the chat and answer some questions. All right, so speaking about ILL, if I'm using this over the break, will there be librarians available then? Not for the 1 week of break. We will be closed from December 25th to New Year's Day. But if you put in the ILL request then we'll get it as soon as we come back. All right, do we have any more questions about using PubMed? You're welcome. All right, doesn't look like there's any, but if you want to remember one thing from this, just remember PubMed's a good first choice. Use Mesh to narrow things down, and also make sure you're catching everything you want in your net. But remember, the newest stuff is not going to be Mesh indexed. All right, so done with PubMed. I'm going to close this. And let me go back to the library homepage. All right, which and a new tab. All right, so the rest of these I'm going to go through collections and databases. And the next one I'm going to cover is Scopus. So Scopus is covers all sciences and has a broader range. So some journals that PubMed does not. That could mean newer journals. Also some technical publications that aren't may not be peer reviewed, but could also be useful to what you're looking for. So to get to Scopus, just go to S and then look for Scopus. I have that open over here. So the first time you sign into Scopus, it's going to say you'll be given two options and said, do you want to use Scopus PCOM or Scopus off-campus? Just choose the first one, whether you're on campus or not. It's going to give you the same All right, so when you search Scopus, you start off with the basic search box, and it automatically will search the article title, abstract, and keywords. If you click Limit, you can tell it what years you want to limit to. For Scopus, you want to do this before you start. So let's go 2012 to present. You could also do add in the last week to a month. Document type. You could choose what you want. Let's go with review again. And here you'll notice you're going to find more books or book chapters. So this is a good, if you're looking for books and chapters as well as articles, make sure to search Scopus in addition to PubMed. All right, actually let's do article or review. Access type, ignore that. And let's figure out what we're searching for. All right, I'm going to do physical therapy and asthma again. This time, however, I'm going to put physical therapy in quotation marks. And this just means that it will make sure to search for that phrase as a phrase and not just physical and therapy, both somewhere in the abstract. So I'm going to use that capital letters and asthma. So let me actually add on to this. Say I want to search for asthma and physical therapy or exercise. Let me put this in parentheses here. Put in or exercise. I promise I know how to spell, just not when people are watching me. All right, so the reason I put that in parentheses is that it's going to be asthma and either of these two terms, or both of them. So parentheses make sure that this is counted as one thing, it's and asthma, and the or in there, make sure it searches for either or both of them. So let me run a search here. All right, and here we have 10,000 results, which is quite a lot. On the left-hand side, there's also ways to refine results, just like PubMed. Here, the year you have to check which year you want, which is why we did that when we first did the search, because that's not actually very helpful. All right, and here we could use things like document types. Say we decided, oh, we only want reviews. Just click that here. You could also see what keywords are used. And if you click View More, this is a really helpful way to find kind of more keywords you could search by. Let's try View All. And you'll see there's a ton of results here. But if you're not exactly sure what keywords you want to search for and want to make sure you don't miss anything, then taking a look at all of these could help. Like you could notice, oh, yes, I want specifically coughing, and then just limit to. You could also exclude something if you're getting a ton of results for a procedure that you're not very interested in. All right, so then let me actually click limit to, so we get only those reviews. All right, down to 2,000 results. Still a lot to look through. So another great thing about Scopus is that automatically sorts by date again, but you can choose by most cited papers. And this is a really good way to find out what's actually important in the field. So I limited it down to the last 10 years. So keep in mind that newer papers are definitely going to be cited less just because they haven't been around for long enough. But here you could see that the 2016 ESC guidelines for the diagnosis and treatment of acute and chronic heart failure. Now that isn't terribly relevant, but you could also see it's been cited 3,000 times, which is a lot. And if you scroll down, you can see how much all of these papers have been cited. So in Scopus, if you're going to be using what it's cited by, you're going to want to narrow down your results as much as possible. You don't have the mesh terms and the major topics, but if you could pick something like you might want to limit heart failure and exclude that using these keywords over here. If you do view all, you could just click that, allergen, for instance, and then click exclude. The other thing you want to do is probably use as specific terms as you can. So if you search within, you could search within results, and you would include equine, for instance. And we're down to only 11, which is a lot easier. And so for Scopus, you're probably going to have to do a little more digging than you are in PubMed. But if you want to catch as much as, then you definitely want to do multiple. So the other really useful thing about Scopus, you'll notice that this cited by number is a link. So if you find one good paper, you can go to all the other papers that cited it and probably find more papers that are relevant to what you're doing. And this is a really useful way to do any type of research, because basically following the trail of references, either the ones that are cited by either the newer references that have cited this paper, or if you just click on the paper itself, then you can scroll down to the references that original paper has cited. And that's good if you want to find older, important papers. All right. And just like in PubMed, you want to look for the PCOM full text here. It'll go through Open Athens. And here's what that remote access question looks like. Just tell them you're from PCOM, remember this, and continue. And with the few pop-ups, it'll take you right to the paper. And I'm not going to be going much into this today, but I highly recommend that you use Refworks if you're going to be doing a literature review or even gathering any sort of articles for any sort of reason. Refworks is a reference manager. It lets you save all your references, and it also you can also install a plugin in Word that lets you just basically insert references as you type, and it will format them correctly. It will format them in the correct format. You could change formats in the middle, and it will save all that. So for all of these databases, there's going to be some option to export either to Citation Manager or directly to Refworks, which makes it really easy. If you're interested in Refworks, we do have a LibGuide, and I'll show you that in a moment. And I also hold classes on Refworks, usually about once a year, and we should have the old ones on our YouTube channel. So there's a lot of information on that. Highly recommend it. All right. The other thing you could do in Scopus, you're going to be doing this less often, but you can do author searches. So if you know an author has written a lot of things on this topic and you want to see specifically what they have done, you can just click an author search. And let's go for Dina Appelt. All right, so you just type the last name. The first name, you're probably going to want to type initials with periods, so DM Appelt. Search. And then here we have Dina M, DM, Dina, affiliation, Philadelphia College of Osteopathic Medicine. And you could just click on her name and then get everything she's published. You could actually get alerts for when she publishes, and then just a lot of information on her. So for anyone that's publishing yourself, you can look at your own publications, or at least everything that's indexed in Scopus right here. Again, this is not something I'm going to be going into a lot of detail, but if you want to learn more about this, then just contact me. I'm at Jacqueline, Jaclyn, we, at pcom.edu. All right. Any more questions about Scopus? All right, I will double check chat. All right, doesn't look like any. So, 2 databases to go. Now, Embase is interesting because it gathers even more sources than Scopus. Oh, that message. Are there any PDF guides on what I'm going through? Not specifically. Well, I shouldn't say that. So we have a LibGuide that has links to tutorials for all of these different databases. Let me pop by the library. And here we want to go to Subject Guides, All Guides. And we scroll down here, and we want to go to Tutorials. And these have tutorials for all of our databases. MyN CBI Help and PubMed Online Training cover that. Scopus Tutorials covers that. Embase is up here. And EBSCOhost is going to cover PubMed and a lot of other things. So some of these do have PDF or text guides. I think a lot of them lean towards video, but you could definitely just click that. Okay, and this has tutorials and quick tours. So these are HTML versions of it. All right, excellent. The recording of this lecture will be posted on the library YouTube channel. And let me run over there. So that can be found. Let's figure out where that can. All right, here at the bottom of the library homepage, there's a link to YouTube. And here we just have click on videos. That'll be all of our classes. And I think we also have a playlist for classes. Okay. Yes, thank you. Archive presentations. And oh, please don't start playing. Oh yeah, here's a list of all of our presentations. New ones at the bottom, and this should be up. I'd say a week, probably soon. All right. Okay, so going to Embase. Once again, you go through here to A to Z databases, look for E. And Embase is interesting because it covers more than both Scopus and PubMed. And what Embase really is good at getting is abstracts from different meetings, also conference papers. So the problem with these is that it's not going to have the actual poster up there. But if you want to find out just a general sense of what is the absolute newest work in the field, has not even been published in a paper yet, then searching for abstracts may be a good idea. And if you do have to do an extra step if you want to look at the full paper or the full poster. You would just have to go and contact the authors themselves. But usually you're going to find a lot of people that are really interested in talking about their work and sharing it. So it's another way if you're trying to look for something that maybe there's not a lot of literature out there yet, or there's really new breakthrough. All right, so Embase starts you with this quick search But I am actually going to go somewhere else. EBSCO or Embase has several different searches, including a drug search. So I'm going to search for a drug and then go from there. All right, I'm going to search for aspirin, and it helpfully pops out and tells you what the search term they use is, which is a word I'm not actually going to pronounce. I'm just going to click on it. And there you go, spells it for you. It's really nice for brand names. If you just remember the brand name, it'll tell you what you should. All right, so this is obviously an extremely broad search. We have 208,000 results for just aspirin. So I want to look for aspirin and heart attack. So once again, I just have to search for the common name, and it tells me to use heart infarction. Puts in quotation marks for me, so it's searching for the entire concept. All right, and now we have 32,000 results on that. So over here, you'll notice there are a ton of filters over there. And you could search for things like diseases. So here we already searched for heart infarction, but you could include that. Let's include hypertension. Click apply. You could also search for age and gender. Let me get this out here. So age and gender. Study types is really useful. You could search for, say, clinical trials. And publication types. Let's go for conference abstracts and conference papers. See some of the stuff you might not find in other databases. All right, so here we have 676 results just from conferences. Let's do publication years, and let's just click 2015 to 2019. Then we have to scroll back up here and click apply. All right, so 189 results. And if you click on this, it'll give you just the abstract. And then you have drug terms here. So if you find a specific drug, you could just search for it and then add to the search like I just did. You could also do the same for diseases. And if you look at the other terms, that will tell you more ideas for keywords you could search for. And down here, it tells you that it's a conference paper. And usually it's going to tell you what conference it's actually from. Here it decided not to. But then you're generally not going to find any more full text. So you'll probably want to just pop over to the publisher's website. Okay, in this case, since it's conference paper, we do have the full paper, which if it was just and then it tells you presented as a poster at what specific meeting. You could also search for that specific meeting. And then if you wanted to contact the author, if it was just the abstract, you could do that. All right, and if you go back here, all right, you could see you could actually really easily save your searches. The history is right up here. Just click on the one you like and click save. And it will let you save it as a saved search. Just save this as test. All right, and then you could see my saved searches. And you could also send an email alert for these. All right, let me just get back to the search here. Some databases like it better than others when you use the back button. All right, and this one lets you sort it by relevance, publication year, or entry date when it was actually added to Embase. So again, Embase is best to use if you're trying to catch things from conferences. Also, it gets more book chapters than Scopus and PubMed. So if you're trying to get more of the fringes and not just the articles, then you definitely want to try Embase. All right, any questions about using Embase? All right, let me take a sip of water while I wait for that. All right, last thing we're going to try is EBSCO. So EBSCO is actually what powers the OneSearch up here. And this is going to search almost all of our EBSCO databases. But I recommend you don't use OneSearch unless you're looking for something in our catalog or really getting a general idea of, is there anything out here? Is this even, or where is it published? So if you go once again to our database list, go to EBSCO. And here you find that EBSCO is not a single database. As it's called EBSCOhost, you can basically remember that it's a host for a whole group of databases. So when you click EBSCO, it's going to give you a big list of databases to look through. And this covers a lot of non-medical topics or more specific topics. For instance, EBSCO has Alt Health Watch, which has a complementary, holistic, and integrated approach to healthcare and wellness. For instance, if you're looking for acupuncture, you definitely want to look at Alt Health Watch. CINAHL Plus has nursing text. And some of the most common ones, usually up here, are psychology-related ones. Here we have ERIC, which is used for education, and PsycInfo, which is used for psychology. And I'm going to go to PsycInfo for now. You can search for multiple databases at a time, but I really recommend using one at a time because then you could use the different filters that each individual database has. All right, so I'm clicking PsycInfo and clicking Continue. And I'm going to go straight to the advanced search here. So actually, let me pop back here. All of the EBSCO databases are going to look like this. It's going to have the simple search in here. And the advanced search will have different topics, different filters depending on the database, but it's always going to look basically like this. All right, so I'm going to do a really basic search for depression. And you'll notice down here, you could apply equivalent subjects, which is basically going to try to do same thing that mesh terms do. Search for a bunch of things that would fall under the same keywords. You could apply related words, so that's the same thing but broader, and you can search within the full text of the article. Usually you're not going to do that unless you're not finding what you want in the usual title abstract keywords. All right, and if you scroll down here, you could see some of the really specific keywords that you can have within EBSCOhost. So let me go, so for psychology, over here you could choose age groups. So let's go with young adulthood. You can choose an intended audience. So this isn't going to be all scholarly, which will be professional and research. You can actually find some general audience and even juvenile articles. So under population group, one thing you could find in PsycInfo that you can't easily find elsewhere is searching for a transgender population. So you also have options: male, female, inpatient, outpatient, human, animal. And for document type, here once again you're going to find a wider variety of things. You'll definitely find a lot more books in things like psychology or education. I am going to go with, let's just do an old journal article. Then you could have actual methodology here. I'm just going to keep it as is now. And also in EBSCO, you could limit to peer-reviewed journals, which is very nice. All right, so let's search. We have 98 results for depression in transgender young adults in peer-reviewed journals. So I would recommend going to the EBSCO databases if your topic is going to be kind of as more multidisciplinary, or searching on including things like books or popular articles that are not necessarily going to. And this is really great if you also do searches, PubMed, Embase, Scopus. Basically, try to keep in mind that if the more databases you, the more thorough your search is going to be. You're going to be getting a lot of the same stuff. Unfortunately, there's no really easy way to just limit to things you haven't seen before, but you could get a lot more by searching a lot of different databases. And EBSCO, once again, you could use the limiters over here. The publication date, you can just drag and drop. And you'll notice since research on transgender people is a newer topic, that the first year publication date was only 2016. So you could also limit to tests and measures. So for instance, if you are looking to do some sort of survey and include depression in there, you might notice that, okay, the Center for Epidemiologic Studies Depression Scale or Self-Esteem Scale, Beck Depression Inventory, these might be tests that you want to look for. You also have one of the EBSCO databases, psych tests, which just focuses on those. But once again, we're not going to go in depth. All right, and this one will link right to HTML or PDF full text. And any of the EBSCO databases are going to look pretty much like this. They'll just have different limiters that you can. So if, for example, Alt Health Watch, I believe has limiters for like specific types of intervention, like acupuncture, aromatherapy, etc. All right, any questions about using the EBSCO databases? Over to the chat here. So I just talked about 3 of the most used databases here, and also EBSCO, which has a bunch. There are even more databases that I have not gone into. And if you're interested in using any of those, the things I would most, you can definitely come talk to me or someone else at the library. But if you want to explore on your own, just remember a few things from here. Quotation marks will be searching for a phrase. Using capital, all caps, and will make sure you're searching for articles, books, etc. with both of those terms in there. Or we'll let you search for either or both of some terms. Usually works best in parentheses with and. And also, almost all of these databases are going to have filters that will make sure you don't have to dig through thousands of results, but limit it down to something more manageable. All right, and I will be doing more of these library research seminar series starting in January. we're doing a lot of REDCap. But if there's anything that you're interested in learning more about, then contact us at the library. You could send me an email if you think it would be a good idea to have a library seminar series on this specific topic. And also, when the new PubMed comes out, just keep an eye out on your emails. We'll send out a lot of emails, and I'll do a class on how to work with that thing. All right. Thank you all for attending, and have a good day. All right, stop recording.